Hello, love. My name is Jay Song. You like my intro? Today we're going to be continuing ChartRoom. Let's see, episode 349. With people say, "Why do you have 349 episodes?" No, we have 400 and something episodes. We just every 100 episodes or something, we start another season, and then one day I was like, "Why do we do that?" So we just stopped doing that. It's a lot of videos we form. We do a lot of ChartRoom. Let's go to our first crypto. We're going to start with USDT.D, my favorite chart. You know what's happening with that chart, and you know what's happening in the market. And if you get a feel for many charts and you start seeing a pattern, you know what's happening in USDT.D. Alright. Okay. Everything in this video is never financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. Everything is just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I ate red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries a substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. Alright, just stretching out that line. I thought we just stretched it out. Okay, let me put this line back. Alright, there it goes. Okay. The weekly chart, as we discussed in the past few weeks, has been very susceptible to bouncing in this area right here for our USDT.D chart. And in that bounce, we've identified 4.96 as the area about where it levels out. If it was going to hit last week, it was 4.96, and it did. It spiked there just last week, right there to 4.96, and that was really great. So I really love this chart because it helps us to identify what seasons and territory price is more likely to play or bounce with it. A new behavior begins here. When this chart goes up, your cryptos are falling primarily, so this was going to be a down week or down moment. And when this is coming down, this becomes an up week or up moment. If we further isolate it down to a daily chart, you can see that this day would have been an up day, and as this is coming down, these would have been great entry prices for cryptocurrencies. That's when you want to be looking to enter cryptos. As I said on my previous charts, those are the prices you want to enter cryptos. Okay. Watch lines that we have after we reject in these areas brings us down to this area. So we're either going to bounce above this line or we're going to reject here, and this one is where we reject. So this is basically what we bring down the statistics or the highest probabilities that this should reject. And if this comes down, this is where cryptos are going to be going up. So you'll notice after 1, 2, 3, 4, probably over the last 4 days, cryptos have been rising. I got some notifications yesterday for certain cryptos that are moving up. This is going to be this movement. The foundational area that's based on this angle or about such is going to reveal another set of weakness that is underneath this track, culminating until it hits up here, and it's a vortex, and that's around June 17th. However, the weakness may be appearing today. Now, the thing about today's close is that today's close we still have 10 more hours left. Okay, so this could come up before the day's over and just look like a wick and a candle up here, and the candle in my case would be white, in your case it would be green. Most people have green and red candles, but I have red and white because I like red and white. Okay. But as it is right now, we're possibly going to get a close here at the end of the day. Now, a close here at the end of the day below this number approximately would give us more probability that we're going to come down, and that would equal bullishness for cryptos. When this comes down, your cryptos go up. So bullish area for cryptos. So how that might translate to this week is if you have some bullish positions, you may want to hold on to your bullish positions until we're reaching some of the lower areas, 4.48, 4.30, somewhere in this range. You might be actually looking to take profits. Okay, that's where you're probably going to be looking to take profits. somewhere in that area. So you may want to hold on or risk it for the biscuit. If, however, the week at the end of the day we come back up to this area, then that's where you also may want to exit, and then you want to zoom down into smaller time frames and watch this go back up. But at the moment, this is where we actually may have a chance in 10 hours to do something positive in here. So I'm just going to circle 10 hours, or I'll put this 10 hours. Do we have any other questions regarding USDT.D, where we're at in this current moment? We've been tracking this quite nicely. Go ahead and take a screenshot if you need. Okay. So hold on, let me show you a bigger. There you go. Go ahead and take a screenshot if you need. Is it coffee? All right. Okay. I'm gonna show that image of the weekly chart. You guys all have that because we've been watching it. As this line is being phased through, it's losing its power, and it's going to stress the borders, which is going to be a flat angle. As I wrote before, this is an area where we're primarily looking to take profits on cryptos. And then in previous videos, I said 4.97 to 4.94 is the area I'll be looking primarily to enter cryptos. So we hit it once. Are we going to hit it again? Possibly we'll hit it again. If we possibly hit it again, it'll be in that area. But that was the area from our previous charts. And again, as we hit it once, there should be some open positions on cryptos. For anything that's bullish, that's where you want to be looking. All right. With that said, I'll draw some pictures on here. I'm gonna put a little arrow pointing to some of the things of note. This line is currently losing strength. We know it's losing strength when price starts phasing below, like that's a sign of losing strength. So I'm just letting you know it's a watch line on the weekly chart. This area was triggered last week. It may, if you're saying I missed the entry on crypto, it may trigger again. Okay. So this area, which points to right there, okay, there, it's a hit. Okay, understand that? So when we're looking for entries, entry area, that's the entry area. As we discussed in previous videos, that's what I'm talking about. So maybe as an explanation, I'm going to put a few more areas of note on here. This area, when these just phase through, this area becomes more active, the actual borders, or the larger oscillations if you have them, which we have a few areas. In the future, as I've been telling you for a few months on the larger time frame, I'm really looking to hit these areas. And in a vision and a dream, we were off the chart down here, below that area. But based on my analysis, we're supposed to hit this area sometime in the future. Okay, the other big area we're going to be hitting in the future is this area here, based on the larger parabolic. This line is about years long. This area is years long. So when that happens, I'm going to be looking for this to come up. I'm going to be looking majorly to take some shorts and possibly enter some cryptos if we get a bounce there. But later in the future, whether it's that moment or beyond, this is where I really want to look for a flash crash. In my heart, in my mind, based on my analysis, if we're ever in that area, that's where the alarm bells ring. But since we're not there, all of this I just consider normal trading. So people ask me like, hey, is the flash crash happening right now? Like, the only two places I see it is when we're way up here and the chart has a high chance of going up. This means cryptos will fall in a big way. But I really don't think that's going to happen without us coming down here first. And because of the dream, once we do come, I believe we're going to actually be below that peak line at some time in the future. So that was about a year ago, I think now, that I had that dream. So that's going to be something I'm going to be looking at. Okay, so this area right now, and this area, the 4.3 area, is still more the numbers I'm looking at, 4.30. Okay, those two areas are going to be the prices that I'm looking at. Okay. Anybody have any other questions for me regarding this map? Okay. I see a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving pieces. Trying to keep my mind on it to give it to you guys, and that's the game. Got it? Okay. All right. With that said, let's look at some cryptocurrencies. We'll bring these back in play, and we'll go from there. Let me move some of this stuff off to the side. Okay. All right. Let's look at AAVE. AAVE, our first crypto for today. All right, let's see how it's going. Okay, I got a map for VE, identified a few important oscillations. Let's talk about them. All right, for VE, we got data that goes back to 2020. In October, we have a strong downtrend here. This is where the health comes in. This is where our sword cut. So the sword cut was hit once, twice, for a few weeks, and then the health started. Okay, the oscillation for that happens to be outward, so we can extract the tiger line, and the tiger line is going to give us an angle, which is about something like this. That's the angle. We can duplicate that angle at all the relevant energy centers within the borders and outside the borders, and it's going to be about right here and here. So all that means is we take that tiger line and we move it to those places, and we keep a record of it. So here's the first place. We basically click this angle in place, and it starts testifying to where the future bounces should be. You can place this angle at the cores, and you can place it at the wicks, and you're looking for a bounce in those areas, such as here. Okay, this is one of those bounces in the areas. We already have it marked on the chart where we should got the bounce. You get the bounce. This is looking for verification of the tiger angle. When you have the verification that the tiger angle is active, you want to continue using that angle at all the other relevant energy centers. So if I take the same tiger angle and I bring it up to the top and I click it into this energy center, or this center of energy, in other words, then the next top is along that track, which means that if currently price is trading at $261, if it goes up tonight, it's going to go up to approximately 552 or 550, somewhere about 550 before it starts getting into some big resistance. And we can also use those areas quite very much like a health marker. So we can put a health above there, and if prices were to be playing below this angle, we can also view that as a type of weakness, but instead we bounced in that area. So that's going to be how we view that. In addition, this area gives us very little wiggle room. So we're going to be actually looking more to something like this. Okay, and this area would be more like a delay. So we'd mark that in yellow if we wanted to. Just because price does fall below, so what that means is that even if in the future price is falling below this tiger line, it's very little profit here. So I don't really want to make a decision until we get to about maybe here. Okay, so on that track. So to denote that on the price, we'll just leave the weakness, major weakness, underneath there as an update. Okay, so we have targets on the top. All these targets really have been hit. So we'll do another target system just to see. I think this is the second target. Yeah, that is the second target. We'll just stretch that one out a little bit farther. We have a flat at $380. And so that's part of the board. So I'll leave that there so you guys can see and replicate that if you want to. So this is a tiger analysis. If you're new to our community and you want to know more about the tiger analysis, in the chart room, you're going to type in the website, on our Patreon website, you're going to type in the word lessons. Click on show more. It's going to show the lessons, and then you're going to see one for the post. You're going to click show more, and one of the specific lessons is called tiger analysis. So I hope that helps you. Welcome to all the newcomers who are watching on our video. Thank you so much for supporting our community. We can view a few things that might be important to note, some of the observations we can make about this chart. As we apply multiple analyses, we're going to extract some data within this upward oscillation that may be of note, may be of importance. And one of the ways we can determine what's important is by verification. Let's see, let's do a little test since we got a little bit of time. Can anybody tell me what active tools we should put on this chart? So we got this outward oscillation. Okay, so we can see price overall playing in this outward dissipating type of energy. What type of other analysis might we place on this chart? There's one that really sticks out to me, one that we can verify, but what type of analysis will we apply in these? We already did tiger, so I gave you guys the hard one. Can anybody else give me any other ideas about what to do? I want to test your knowledge. Okay, how do we solve the equation? What becomes important? What's not as important? Where should we be looking? Go ahead and draw on my chart. You can draw right on my chart using the Zoom Annotate button. Let's take 3 minutes and apply some various analyses. There's one that really should stand out to you, my friends. But let's draw together. So on the Zoom, you can click on draw and draw right on my face. You put a smiley face on me, put a frowny face. You guys can draw on the chart. There's one that I want to stand out to you guys. Let's see. 30 seconds. Okay, someone's drawing a possible parabolic from here. If you're watching the video later on YouTube, you can't see what they're drawing. Somebody's drawing a line from here to here. All come. All right, I'm taking mental note of those. Okay, anyone else? We'll do these one by one. I'll help you by hiding my lines. I don't know if it will help you or not, but okay. What else do we observe? Okay. There's one more that's easy to observe. I want you to catch it, or at least one more. Good job. Good job. Okay, I think that's Michelle Firecracker. She's doing flats. Good, good. That's the one I really wanted you guys to catch. All right, so
Was that me, Jay?
was that you? Wasn't you? Who was that in purple?
That might have been iPad.
Is that iPad? Okay, the infamous iPad. I don't know who iPad is, but they're always really good drawing charts. And this is going to be what we're going to do. So the one I really wanted you to catch was the flats analysis. So it's great when you can calculate all the oscillations and the tiger. There was one tiger line and tiger area I missed, and we'll start with there, and then we're going to go into the flats. Okay, so let me save this image. I'm going to hide. iPad drew the missing flat, and I didn't catch that flat, so that's great. So of all the energy centers we tested, okay, the ones that are most active right now are that angle and that angle. Okay, that one, these two. However, this is also an energy center here in these areas. So we want to also take the tiger line and place it there to be watching for some possible resistance here. And you can say, well, price already moved through it. But with tiger, you're going to see them move through it often. So I do want to place one there for the purposes of this class. Okay, so we do want to possibly watch the flat right here, or this target, because it's overlapping where price is right now. So you can see that this becomes a possible vortex. It's just more ingredients towards the mixture. So with that being said, I will highlight that price point more as around $320 for AAVE. Okay, and then I will just bring this tiger line backwards. Okay, all right, now let's move on to some of those other analysis real quick. We're gonna, since we got some time, I'll highlight what we drew. you may be looking for a move like that. Okay. These come down. These come up. These come up. Okay. AAVE. Now, we're going to draw that which I showed you so you can see what we're talking about. Go to my image. You will go before me. You have never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. Okay. Flats. We draw flats in blue in ChartRoom. Here's our first big flat. When we see flats active, we always need to take note because it stretches the border. It stresses those areas. If it's on top, it acts like a support. If it's on bottom, it acts like a weakness, depending on where price is. So if price is currently on top, and we're coming from a place, we'll look for bounces here on my head. And if price is coming from the bottom, we look for resistance near my shoulder. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Now, with this said, the next things we're going to be looking at is flats to continue their active run. Okay. So the next areas we have to place flats are at those same energy centers. So this is an energy center. Maybe that one's in a peakish in the past. We'd have to look at that one right there. But for right now, the ones that are main I want to talk about are that one and that one. Okay. So price is still doing its climb, although we haven't hit a new high. We're still going to be looking at flats to be active. So we can move the flat angle much like the same way when we identify key angle, we keep moving it. But let's start with the lower energy center. Let's lower the line width. We can see a verification here. If I bring it to the next energy center up in this area, we get a verification here, and we get a verification. Which one is this one? Here in the core area. Back. Price can be verified forward and backwards. My question to you is, are the flats active? Are the flats active? Yes or no? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no?
Yes.
Easy Peasy thinks yes. Bridget thinks yes. Camino says yes. Well, Camino's vote is good enough for me. When we see active flats, it's important we take note of those. This again, all these, you're saying, I don't care about AAVE. All these principles can apply to every crypto, every commodity, every stock. Take note. This is why we pay attention to the principles, because they can be applied across the board to any market, approximately. Take note of active flats. Well, what's an active flat? Active flat, any flat areas with verification. When I draw verification, I often use this ice cream color. Okay. So that would be a verification of this flat. This would be a verification of this flat. This would be a verification of this flat. Okay. You guys see that? So this is we just use the V shape, up or down. All right, take note of any flat areas with verification. Active flats. All right, take note of any active flats. If so, use flat angles and watch you have great success with mapping out your crypto, with predicting the tops and bottom or the decision-making points. You'll know bullishness when it's happening. If we were back here, for example, and we knew flats, we're looking for entries here. We're looking for entries here. We're looking for weakness. We're looking for health above here, and weakness is below here. Weakness, health. Okay, once you start identifying, it helps you make those decisions and start understanding. If price is trading down here, I already know we're looking for weaknesses. If prices is bouncing or rounding, or you can chop those here, you're looking for health and prices to move up. And so forth and so on. Okay. I hope this image helps you, but now I have my next question. If this is active, and we have flats with verifications, where therefore is our top? Where's our places that we should be looking for a top? There's two answers I'm looking for you guys to say, and we haven't got to DP projection yet. There's two answers I want you guys to say, because one of them you're going to tell me the wrong answer, and I'll tell you why it's wrong, and the other you're going to tell me the correct answer. But let's see if we can find the two areas we need to be paying attention to, therefore, if we have flats. Please circle the two areas that we're talking about. We're using a flat angle for this analysis. Where are the two areas I need to draw flats? Come. Maybe one back here. Okay. One here. All right. Why do I need to draw here? Okay. Why do I need to draw up there? And what do I draw when I'm up here? What do I draw when I'm up here in that area?
The flat line?
The flat, right? It's simple, right? Trying to make it simple for you guys. We draw a flat. Core or wick?
Both.
Both. We can draw both if we want to. Although it appears the core has its own verification. The core area, which is going to be right there, has a verification small there. When we came down, we came back up to that area and then came down. See how that worked? But you can raise it up to wick, especially if you have wick met. So we want to be looking and thinking like a block or range. But yes. So therefore, right now, we're going to pay attention to, what's this, 360, 380, something like that. 380, 360. We'll look at it officially, but that's basically what we want to pay attention to right now. What else might I want to pay attention to? Possibly that one. I want to know where we're really at with this one, but possibly that area, if we had some kind of verification. Right now, I don't have any verification for that one. Are there any other areas that I might have right now at the moment? That area. Ah, I knew it. Okay, what about this area? Who thinks yes, who thinks no? Why or why not? Think yes, this area right here, yes or no?
I say yes.
Okay, we got one yes. Who thinks yes?
I would say yes. I think there's another place for a flat too.
Okay, we got two yeses. Okay. Where's everybody saying? Who thinks yes, who thinks no? We got two yeses, three yeses. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Alright, I'm going to give you my opinion. And I'll let you guys decipher from there. Okay. My opinion is this area, I do not want to draw flat. My opinion. Okay. I could be wrong. Does anybody know why I would not draw flat here? Anybody want to suspect why I may not want to draw flat there? And maybe I can compel you or give you a good case why I do not want to draw a flat there. What might my thinking be? That's why I said there's one answer that's correct, one answer that's wrong.
But there's a point of verification in the past.
Okay, where?
Go all the way.
Is it that?
Line is. Yeah.
Maybe on the wick side, we might be missing it quite a bit. I don't know if I trust that as a verification. Maybe further. The core, if anything, you might be sitting on there.
That's where I would put the flat right underneath that blue arrow.
Yeah, you could maybe there, but we're talking about specifically in this area.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. No, just.
Why would we got to be careful about that flat? And there's a reason I'm asking you guys, because if you do this, you're going to probably end up doing this, which I believe is a mistake, in my opinion, and it's a mistake that most people are doing unconsciously. After I tell you the answer, I've told you guys every few months I do bring this up, so I sometimes try to quiz you to make sure you're not doing it wrong. Why, Paul?
Maybe you want the energy center to continue to develop?
Yes. Thank you. iPad put not finalized. Okay, the reason we don't want to use this area, and I'll show you why, is because there's no evidence that we're cleared yet. Okay? There's no evidence that this is done. And so we're just preemptively drawing a flat. So for example, if I say I'm going to draw a trend line here, in 3 days, all of you who drew this in 3 days are going to say to yourself, why did I draw that line? Or was this a weekly chart? So in 3 weeks, you'll be like, why did I draw that line? Just if we were going up and I just happen to draw a trend line maybe right here. That might not be a good example. Or here. Like, it's just where it is today, but it may not be a flat at all. It may just be a little bump on the road, and price will just continue going up. And everyone will say to themselves, why did I draw that? Let me give you a better example. I'm going to go down to a 1 hour chart. Okay, we'll go down to all the way to a 1 hour chart. And let's see, what is this, an uptrend? How do I know my top is here? I have no evidence the top is here unless I have done some homework to give me that response. If I have done some homework, I would. But there's a temptation for a lot of us to draw a trend line at the end where price is right now. We have to be real careful. Now, it's one thing to draw it beforehand based on maybe some evidence. It's another thing to draw it at the moment because we imagine in our mind that's where the top is. But it could be not the top. It could just continue going up or whatever. Or we view it as a bottom and because it's at a low. We don't want to be like that pastor at the crypto conference who had said he got his whole church into debt, and he testified. And then he said, man, I repent doing that, but that's why we got to buy now while we're at the bottom. And I'm just doing like that. And based on my calculations at the time, the market still had more to go, and it did go more at that moment. And we got to be careful just assuming we're at bottoms or tops without some kind of homework. Now, if you do your homework, then, that's fine. If you have that area in advance, but don't draw the area based on just this area. Does everybody get that? Never draw your moment just based on the moment, because we'll just see something that's not reality. Okay? If I can see, okay, maybe the bottom's here, or maybe that's the top. Now you have evidence that might be. But other than that's our default. Okay? Everybody got that? Okay, let's go back down to the weekly chart. And you see, every now and then I'm going to quiz you on that principle to make sure that no one's just drawing random lines at the end of a chart just to keep you guys safe, because it's such a temptation for new traders and old traders alike. Okay, it just sometimes feels good to draw right there, and that's a mistake I made plenty of times in my life. Okay, I think that's about all that I want to show you with this. So based on this analysis, we're going to bring up those flats. I'm going to stretch the flat area to about that core. I'm going to bring up the verification of it, since we can say, hey, flats are possibly still active. If we're really building in this area, we could be building on the sword cut right here. That could be some kind of helpful. There's an old target here. We're building above this area. I would say that this crypto is more in a bullish area, has bullish chances to be more bullish sentiment. There's a target that's above here, and if we do, we're probably going to reach up the flat. Okay, if we come back up, we may hit 320 based on the old target, but we also may hit the flat again. So I'm going to put the flat prices 382 to 364. All right. Anyone have any questions, comments, my thoughts on this recreation of where I'm actually going to be looking at for V to be going? So right now I'm going to say it's in a bullish position. still in a bullish position, although on that 1 hour chart we're probably going to have some pullback on for the next few hours, but this is a whole week worth. So we may see several weeks where we move it up. I'm not expecting it to do anything fantastic today. You'll probably get some lower prices in the week, and it'll be up to you to cut it down to smaller times if you want to. Okay. You can draw your watch line for when things slow down. Any other questions? Going once. Going twice. All right. Let's move on to another crypto. Remember, all these principles in here we can use to our advantage. The next one, Superfood wanted me to look at AAVE. AAVE. Okay, and then after that we're going to look at PDYN. It's a stock. Moira, which of those three do you want me to look at? There's 3 of them on there. I can do one of them. Okay.
Whichever one you choose.
All right, let's do a crypto. So we're predominantly crypto, and then you can give me another request for Monday if you want to. I mean for Wednesday. All right, let's go to AAVE. I'm so tempted to buy a squishy right now. Can anyone do the voice of AAVE? You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay. Who got that joke? It's a funny joke.
Lion King said it?
No, no, but you're thinking Disney. You're thinking Abu. No, we're talking Apu, right? Is that his name? From The Simpsons.
Oh, okay. Oh boy.
I do not endorse that show. Just they got rid of him because they would call him racist because the actor who plays him is actually not Indian, but he does a really nice Indian accent. And they were like, oh, it's racist. After, 30 years of being online, they call him racist. So sad. The woke wars, man, I tell you. I heard of the headline the other day, the Black Panther movie, the Marvel's Black Panther movie, they're now chose a white actor to play the Black Panther. And the black people are really mad, or the woke people are really mad. And they're, how could you race swap? They did it with Little Mermaid. I don't know.
Crazy how people are so sensitive.
Yeah. Their argument was, they're saying, why are you so mad that she's black? It's a fictional character. And so then when they announced the Black Panther movie is going to be played by a person, they're like, how could you do that? And so all the other people are saying, it's just a fictional character. Why are you so mad now?
All in the Family was playing right now.
Yeah, they said they suspect it's going to be Ryan Gosling who's going to play the actor for it. Black Panther. Wakanda forever. Okay, let's extract. Let's see, what can I extract here? We have a few things we're looking at this crypto AAVE. What should I be looking at right now for this? What should I do next? I put some important, I put maybe a flat here. Tiger says invest box. So to do Tiger, we can either just eyeball it or we can stretch this out. There's a benefit to stretching these out. If we stretch them out to the area that they cross over, what happens at the area where they cross over right here? Who remembers from my lessons? Something important happens at this area. In this case, there's a certain price. I'll put the price on, and you guys tell me what happens here. And how should I note it on price? Thundercut! Good job. InvestBox is on top of it. We draw our Thundercut there. And it's a place we note. Now, I call them Thundercuts because they're a place in the sky. I denote it with a white, with yellow, and a black border. Okay. Thundercut, or what we know as T-cut. Okay. T-cut. We don't talk about them enough, but you usually don't see them because they're far into the future. But if you ever come back up to those areas, pay attention to those areas. Right now, it's really far away from where price is going to hit. But it's nice to know where they're at in case you need. That's why we can predict sometimes these important areas months or years in advance. 0.0017. Okay. All right, now let's shorten those back up. If you ever want to hide your work, you can. You will be like, oh, what are you doing? Let's extract the tiger. Actually, I'll leave that crossed right now while we do the tiger. To do the tiger, we go to the center point where they intercept. Okay, we're going to draw a orange line. This tiger line, we can make it dashed or straight. For right now, we're going to use it straight. So we place it basically in the center of that crux, the vortex of the area, and we're going to try to put it 50%. Okay, 50%, which is basically not all the way this side, not that side, but halfway. Okay, and then we start looking for the angle to give us a verification. Okay, this is going to be what is known as our tiger angle. If we wanted to give it a label, we can do tiger angle. It doesn't need to be bold. Okay, so there's our tiger angle. It will look like that. I can already see that we got some type of verification for this, so that's good. You can see how we got some rejection here, rejection here. It starts letting us know that this oscillation is powerful. Now, how can I use this angle to make money, save money, or protect my money? How can I use that to my advantage? Okay. Please, someone explain to me what the thought process is. How do I use this how do I use this tool to help me understand what this chart is doing? Can anybody walk me through the process, please? Tell me. 10 seconds. Nobody took my tiger lesson? No lessons? Okay, the answer is to use the angle to our advantage and place the tiger at all relevant energy centers. Let me write on my board here. Use the tiger angle as a powerful tool by placing it at all relevant. That's not how you spell irrelevant, is it? Relevant. Maybe that's not how you spell it either. Energy centers within and without the primary oscillation used to create the tiger angle. Alright, what does that mean, Jason? That's a wallop. Okay? Use the tiger angle as a powerful tool by placing it at all relevant energy centers within and without the primary oscillation used to create the tiger angle. So let's break this down. Where is the primary oscillation used to create this angle? What is the oscillation? We know oscillation means to move back and forth like a sound or sine wave. Okay. Where is the primary oscillation used to create this angle? Somebody draw it for me. It's really simple. Good. Did you see what he drew? He drew that. Okay. That's what they drew. That's the oscillation. Like a sound, price moving back and forth in here. So the primary oscillation is going to be that. Let's do something. Let's put primary oscillation, and then I'm going to put some green. I'm going to use this big crayon and make some green borders so you guys can understand what we're doing here. Okay, this primary oscillation. Good. Now, we're going to place it at all the relevant energy centers. Now we got to find out what our energy centers are. Alright, what's our energy centers? Somebody show me where the energy centers are. The relevant ones. Within and without this oscillation. Okay, where are they? Circle those areas that I need to check. This is the protocol for tiger. Good, we got one here. Where's another one? There's 3 more. Come on, maybe 4. Where are they? Okay, maybe that one. Yep, that's a smaller one, but yeah. Come. This is a little weak energy center. There's a much better one. Okay, there we go. There's some energy centers here. Come on, there's some more. Okay, I'm getting at something here. I'm trying to get you guys to there, but to do that, I have to have you build upon the concepts. Okay, there we go. That's one. Good job. And there's another one. Invest box. Good. Okay. There's one more. There's a big one. Good. That's one. There's one more big one, should say. Where is it? It's back there. Okay. I'm gonna clear your lines. Take a screenshot of my notes. Put it in your JSON notes. Okay. Learning notes. Make an iPad file if you want to. Learning notes. Okay. JSON learning notes. Here's what we're going to do. Now that we have this, I'm going to take a duplication. I'm going to duplicate this whole image. Okay. Save to photos. We're going to take that and place it at those relevant energy centers. Here, primarily, and here. Okay. So let's take the angle. Now that we got the angle. And if we fail, then it tells us the whole oscillation is not dominant anyway. Okay. I'm going to fade away the original one in just a moment, and we're going to use the shorter version of this. So I'm going to duplicate this line a couple times, shorten it up, then delete that. Okay. Then I'm going to make this like that and delete the words. I don't really need the words. And there we go. So now I have a tiger line that's approximately the right angle, okay, along here. So let's start with the first bottom. If I place it here, there's no hit. But if price were to fall, that becomes a safety net, whatever price that is at the moment. Okay, so if price were to fall next week in a flash crash, I already know 000032 would probably be a nice entry point if there was like a major flash crash. However, before that happens, there's other angles that could come up, such as 4.8 and so forth and so on. Okay. For right now, I'm gonna leave these about with number 3. Okay, and we're here. Okay, so right now these are not in play at the moment. The top ones, however, may be or have been or active. So this angle here is where we're going to place it. Core and wick in this area, and this is going to give us stress along this line. So we should be hitting resistances at this area. Here's the wick side, resistance here 1, resistance here 2. So that's something that's, we can say, okay, maybe it's already active. A lot of pressure to the downside still. Okay, the next place we put it is at the next swing up, which would be here. Okay, we're going to take the tiger line and we're going to put it there. So now this one goes away. And we can see at the moment, based on the tiger angle, as long as our angle's still okay, it should be there. At the moment, this has not been hit, so we're going to just stress this down, that if we're still falling, I'm going to be looking at there as a support. So I'm going to put a little highlighter along that track for the tiger angle. So if price is falling right now, which it currently is, if we fall, I'm going to be looking for us to fall to this tiger area. In this case, it's going to be 0001. Current price is 0002. That's a huge gap for this crypto, even if it's an altcoin. 30, 40, 43% from current price right now. So right now, I want to still be looking at these areas to offer me some support if we're going down. Now again, if we need help, we need to be above the air there anyway. But right now, if this is acting like the sword cut resistance, which it is once and twice, in orange we have that already for us. Okay. If we do come down, I'm going to be looking for us to fall to the tiger line. Just like before, the same principle. If we fall, we're going to fall to the tiger line. And then we can do something nice or health. Same way. Okay, that's how that works. So we're anticipating where these supports are in advance. And right now, just as a freebie, we're here. Okay, we're not done with our analysis. I'm going to show you a little bit more. but the story starts coming together. Okay, now what is another observation we can make about this number? Did anybody catch another observation we can get about that specific number, 0014? Or the angle? It's a vortex. Good job, Bridget. It's a vortex. Can you show us why it's a vortex? It is. Did everybody catch it? What she caught? It's absolutely a vortex. You guys are getting good at this. I'm really proud of you. Okay, the answer is because of these areas here. This angle intercepts with here. So yes, it is a vortex. What do we call it when price falls to that area and it's in that pocket? And how do we use vortexes to make money or save money or protect our money? What do we call it when price is in the pocket, and how do we use it to our advantage? Okay. The answer is, when price is in the pockets, we call it a prime vortex. If price is not in the pocket, it's not primed. Like a gun that we're loading or a pump, we prime the pump, it's ready to go. So if price is there, we know it is pumped. So the coincidence is that this angle just happens to be part of a larger energy center. So we really want to pay attention to these areas. It stresses the importance of this area, doesn't it? Again, like I said, the picture tells us something. Okay? So if I'm going to buy this crypto, and right now I may be underneath this sword cut based on the smaller energy centers here and here, I might want to be thinking, oh man, we're rejecting against the sword cut. I'm more likely we're going to come down. And then if I'm going to pay for it, that's probably a good price to pay for it. Okay? That's probably a good price to pay based on where we're at right now. Okay? So if prices fall, I want to be paying that price, not the current price. It's more dangerous right now. So I wait. Now again, these principles we can apply to every single one of our cryptos. All right, let's continue. Often this becomes a vortex. We can label it by putting a little call out and say, hey, vortex. And vortexes can give us a date. This date is June 13th. 2025, so it's in just a few more days. Today is June 9th. This is around June 13th. So we can take a look and see. Now we can also set an alert if this are going to hit. We can click the alert, and I can put the coordinate, click on the line, and then this will pop up, and I'll put my alarm clock button, and then I'm going to click on message, and I'm going to say alert. Apu approaching lower prices. Okay, possible entry, and I'm going to click create. So now I know in advance where I'm possibly looking. I'm looking along this line. One thing I should note about this area, can anybody make an observation about this area here? What am I looking at? There's something in my eyes I'm trying to see. What am I looking at? Good job, iPad. The core area. The core area. If the angle matches the wick, I'm looking at the core right now, but if the angle matches the wick, what do I do? How do I use that to help me for my advantage? What do I do? How do I use that to make money, protect my money, profit? How do I use that? Somebody explain it to me, please. Step by step, we're building these.
Duplicate it and move it to the top energy centers.
Okay, we can duplicate the angle, maybe. We can do a key angle like that too. That's one option, but specifically for this area. How can I use this to my advantage? What, did anything change about my vortex?
You have another one.
Okay, I have another vortex. So now I have a range, right? I can either put it here at the second area, or leave it at the first, or simply do this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to bring it to the second vortex area, and we're going to check the date of that area, and that's June 17th. And now I'm going to type in this button. I'm going to type in vortex June 13th through 17th area, 2025 area. Okay, which means where the ballpark window is a range. You understand that? Okay. So now it should say range area, if that helps you wrap your mind around. Okay. The alarm can be set on the lower side. If I'm going to pay, it gives me a different dates, and it also gives me different prices. One price is 1-4, the other is 1-3. 3 zeros, 1-4, 3 zeros, 1-3. Does everybody understand that? Make sense? Okay, this is how we can use this to our advantage. This is our core. We teach all this core and wick in lesson 1. Core, wick. The wick is a wick match. When you see wick match, pay attention to the lower side. If you see only the cores match, use the core side. If in doubt, just use it as a range. Okay? So we're going to be looking for bounces or health here. If prices fail below both, you know that you're looking at weakness primarily. Okay? Otherwise, you're looking at health. Okay, take a screenshot if you need. Let's go on a little bit further. Let's finish up our tiger. Okay, so we did our tiger at the top one. We did our tiger there. Now let's finish up the tiger for the final parts. We need to move our tiger line here. Okay. Now at the core or at wick, that's the range. In this case, some of the wicks are matching about here, and the top upper wicks are also matching. I'll try to make this really big so you guys can see what I'm doing. Does that make sense? Do you see it? Is the picture coming together? Approximately. Wick, wick, wick. What does this do? How do I use this to save money, make money, or protect my money? How can I interpret this data? I have some important data. Now, how can I use this to my advantage? Somebody tell me. And then we'll move on to a different crypto. Go ahead and unmute. How would we interpret this data? We're sitting at a table, we've got millions of dollars on the line. Hypothetically. Good. Okay, I'm going to try and draw what iPad and InvestBox are drawing right now. We can put some health markers. That's absolutely right. That's what I'm looking for. We can use this to put the health markers in the appropriate locations. Here would be health or weakness. Health or weakness, guys. This one. Health. That's right. It's a health. So let's change it green. Okay. Underneath, therefore, would be the opposite. Weakness. But since this is a range, we'll put the weakness below the range. So we're left with something like looks like this. This area price is more likely to go up. This area price is more likely to go down. And we are now at the sword cut / the vortex of this area, or / the tiger range. So the tiger range, therefore, is intercepting the sword cut right there. Do you guys see that? This angle meets this angle, and price is underneath. So in other words, price is primed for a down move. Okay? Depending on the strength of the tiger, depending on the strength of the sword cut or those confluences, we can more likely see a down move. If the markets continue to be bearish, USDT.D continues to go up, this will more easily move down. That's what we mean. So price currently is in a bearish spot. So therefore, on this crypto, we can write Apu. I'm going to say I'm looking possible weakness. Look for lower prices. If I was just to put a general commentary on that. Okay. All right, go ahead and take a screenshot, and that's how we can dissect this crypto in great fashion. I heard. Yeah, that's how we're going to dissect that in a more appropriate fashion. Clean up the chart. Weakness, no health. Health will be here. You'll be the first to know it if it happens. Price pops above here. We'll look for a possible pullback, then entry, and we can extract all those prices. The price is 00022. Okay, get me above 22. We'll talk. All right. Did you enjoy that? Is it helping? You guys can do this. You'll be successful. You'll be millionaires and billionaires, and you won't be having to be subject to your uncle or your crypto gurus, people with the t-shirts. You're going to be able to use the analysis yourself. We'll do one more for today. The last crypto is FTM. After that, we'll be back on Wednesday for our class. Sonic to US dollar, mitigated from phantomcapital.com. Let's see what this one is. It's got some volume. Oh, we'll use this one. That seems to be a good one. Capital.com. Yeah, that's all the data we need. Okay, I'm going to use that one then. And what I'm going to do, there used to be a button you can just click on here to add to your watch list. But now I don't have it. So I'm going to just manually do it. FTM USD capital.com. I'm going to click this plus button right there. Okay. And now it's added to my watch list. So now I'll quickly be able to see which one I drew on. Okay, let's close and let's draw. All right. What are some of the things that should stand out to us on this chart? Let's do this one. We'll do a lot of it together. That's our last crypto. Okay. FTM Sonic to US dollars. Current price June 16th. Price 37 cents. There should be some obvious things that stick out to us about this chart. What are they? What observations? Let's draw together. Come on. What do we got? Nobody? You brilliant-minded people, you. I know you can do it. Okay, we got upward trend, says Bridget. Somebody drew a downward trend. We can draw that one. Oops. Is that what you meant? You meant the downward trend? Is this uptrend or downtrend? Or is that a trick question? Okay, flat here. That's the real big one I wanted you guys to see. The real big one I really wanted you guys to see is this big flat. Let's turn off the border there. Okay, big flat. Is there more evidence that flats are working for this crypto, yes or no? There's something I want you to see. Okay, we can draw one there. Good job, InvestBucks. He drew here, this one. Any evidence that flats are working right now? Okay. What else? There's another big piece of evidence we're looking at. Okay, good. You guys are drawing the flats all over. See, anyone can do it. It's great. Oops, sorry. I keep moving you guys the chart around. Here's a lower flat. Okay, there's one more, big one. Let's see. Okay, that's some smaller ones down there. Okay, yeah. Yep. The big one up there, that's the one I want to see. Why am I concerned with this one up here? Why am I concerned with this big one up there? Approximately. Anybody know? Price did not reach back. Did it? On the wick side? The reason I'm concerned with this one is it's a multi-touch flat, even if it's twice. Okay, it's an MTF. We also have our big multi-touch flat here at the bottom, touched many times. Both this area and that area are multi-touch flats. Okay. And when we have something like this, we need to talk about it. Okay? It's very possible let's see. Are we uptrend or are we downtrend? On this chart. Or is it a trick question?
It's a tricky question.
Why is it a tricky question? Give us the answer.
Because it's a flat.
Okay, because it's a flat. What does that mean though?
It's even.
It's even, right?
You have your ups and downs within that trend.
What do we call this in the trading world when price is trading evenly? Delay? I call it delay if we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. But if the trading range itself is larger, because this is a weekly chart, it's not really so much delay, but it's called, in the trading world, oscillation. We can think of it, all oscillations, depending on whatever angle they are oscillating, once we find those areas. But right now I'm just talking about when price trades evenly. There's a name for it. It starts with an R. Okay. The answer is range-bound trading or range trading. Okay? Range-bound. Yeah, that's right. InvestBox got it. See, he knows. He knows what I'm talking about. I'm not making this stuff up. Range-bound trading is, if someone says they're range-bound trading, they don't just mean the oscillations upward. We have to use words like that because we calculate lots of different angles and different oscillations. So we reread that. But the standard word for this in trading world, they only primarily, most of them only use flats, at least the old timers. So the name stuck, and the name, even though it may not be appropriate, is range-bound trading. So if anyone uses, they say, hey, it's range-bound trading, think flats only. Okay. Even though technically any type of oscillation, that's why we use the word, that's why we make up the word oscillation, like from the musical term or from the sonic term. Okay. When we're doing this, we basically can use these to say it's very likely the upper extremity might be some price we're looking at, and as the roof, and the lower area might be the floor. So $3.33, and the floor may be somewhere around 17 cents. Now you're saying, wow, that's a huge disparity, and we can extract more from there. But for right now, around 17 cents and around 33 cents is good enough to start. Okay, we can start breaking this up into smaller pieces. Okay, now let's look at this a little objectively. I'm going to plop a few areas here, and just to get you where I want you to look for just a few moments. If I'm drawing an angle from these energy centers, okay, these are the two relevant energy centers right now in the past, and I drew an angle from there to, my sword cut becomes approximately where we cross over in these angles. So if I were to draw this, I would draw from the top to the bottom, and then I'll stretch it across. So I'm going to have an angle maybe about there. My sword cut area, therefore, is where we cross over. It's approximately here. Correct? Yes? No? Okay. This sword cut has technically already been hit. Alright? It's been hit. So our support should be approximately there at that price. And we did in August of 5th, 2024. When we went up, we came back down to this area, and we seem to be losing steam. Now I'm going to focus just a little bit. So I'm going to say we're not in a super big bounce. We seem to be losing steam. Now, what can I do if price may be losing steam for the bounce and may need to come back down? Is there something I can use to tell me the likelihood that we'll come back to a certain area, such as this area that was hit 1, 2, 3? What tool can I use to determine the likelihood that price may or may not gravitate back to that area? There's a fantastic tool we can use to do it. Okay. What is the tool? Does everybody know what it is? We could use the event line. Yeah, we could use event line, but that's gonna our event line would be depending on what side we're looking at. For example, if we're looking at the breakout here, the event line would be a flat. That's the last big thing. Target system could help us if we measure the target system in this range. It can help us know where those targets are, whether the targets are on top and bottom. Most likely we're going to see here. But targets let us know where price is doing right now. If we're talking about where the gravity is, that could help us. There's one more that we're really looking at. InvestBox gave me the answers. VFA, I don't know what VFA is, but volume is what we're going to look at. Volume spread analysis, VSA. But maybe that's what you're trying to say. Okay, we're going to use VSA, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. We're going to use a technique called the micro VSA, or what I call micro VSA. There's two types, macro and micro. Micro refers to specific groupings in their relationship to each other. So there's a relationship we're going to examine. It's a relationship analysis. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to be looking for one of three scenarios. I broke it down in just these three scenarios to simplify. Okay, here is going to be the legend for this. If you're new, you've probably seen me do this lots of times to help you. 1, 2, 3. The goal is this: to observe. That's not the word I want to use. To look for absorption of supply. If bulk of supply is not removed, price has higher incentive to return to support areas. If extreme supply persists, supports are often broken. Now I'm going to show you what this means in just a moment, okay? I'm going to show you what this means. Let me clear your annotation. Okay. Exclamation mark. Take a screenshot of this. We're going to talk about what this means. Put it in your JSON notes. The goal for VSA is to look for absorption of supply. If the bulk supply is not removed, price has a higher incentive to return to those areas. In this case, it would be the area I'm circling right now, okay, with my mouse. The incentive to return to support areas, it has a higher incentive to return back to the support or wherever that volume zone block is. If extreme supply persists, means we have a lot of supply at these areas, then you're going to look for the support to even fail and break. Okay, so that's going to be number 1. And number 2. All right, I'm going to show you this. All right, so let's put this. I'm going to put the word add text. I'm going to add this to your JSON notes, and you guys should too, because this is helping you remember what I'm teaching you, the bulk of this. JSON notes. Okay. Now, let me do one more. Okay. Actually, I wonder if I can type this. Goal with micro VSA. To look for absorption of supply. If the bulk, look for absorption of supply. Interpretation. If the bulk of the supply is not removed, price has a higher incentive to return to support areas. If extreme supply persists, supports are often broken and fail. Okay. Now with that, I'm going to delete this here and move that to the bottom so you guys can see that a little bit more professionally, right? I think you'll appreciate that. Now the next part I want to teach you, I'm teaching you how to do this before it happens. Okay, that's number 1. And then we're gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna put this word here. However, if supply is diminished, price has little incentive to return, and if it does, supports are more likely to hold. Okay, so that's going to be the 2 big things. Okay. Now I'm going to draw in the upper right hand corner the 3 scenarios that show me supply is absorbed. Okay, they're going to be these symbols here. You see me draw these all the time. Increase in volume. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be equal volume. Okay, we're talking about the relationships. And I'm going to show you what we mean. We're going to do this step by step. And the third one is going to be aggregately high volume. All of those mean that the supply, the absorption, has not been removed. All that means is that supply has not been removed. So if you see that happen, that's what that means. It means that the supply has not been removed. I'll add a little text box, and I want to put it here. These scenarios mean the supply has not been removed. Okay, those, got it? So we're looking for these not to be the case. If we do, then I'm gonna show you this. So those are the three. So let's do this now in live, and we're gonna pull up the volume. Oh, and I'm gonna show you what I'm looking for beforehand. Okay, so if I see the volume, and I'm going to put a big question mark here, and the volume is relatively high and increasing, this means the supply has not been removed, because I'm seeing the increase in volume from points 1, 2, and 3. Does that make sense? Take a screenshot for that one. That's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2. Got it? Everybody got it? You understand? Take a picture. This is crayons. I'm taking complicated subjects that take years to learn for some people. Took years to learn for me, and I'm breaking it into just 2 big categories, micro and macro. This is the micro. This is just I'm going to put this in the bonus section of the tutorials. You're watching it now. That's number 1. Next. Number 2 would be if I'm checking the supply at those areas, and the volume is relatively either consistent or equal to. This is going to be equal volume. So we would see that the volume is still relatively equal. Okay. This would indicate that the supply has not been removed. There's still too much supply, and price has an incentive to go down. Okay, there's still too much supply. It's just the same as the first one. In the case of the increase, we'd be actually looking to more fail. But in this case, we'd be looking to more still just reach the support. And sometimes fail. And this is going to be scenario number 2, equal to. Again, this is just a hypothetical. We don't know, we haven't looked. Scenario number 3. Everybody got it? Take your screenshot. I'm teaching you guys all the secrets. You could pay me thousands of dollars to come to a seminar, but it's just $18 for a month. I'm showing you guys how to do this. This is how the banks trade. This is the big players. Okay. If you don't believe me, pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the trade guide or courses. Pay and study all the VSA techniques, and you're going to see that this is basically how you can get a good feel for where the supply is moving in and out. Is the supply being resolved? Even if there's buying here, is the supply being removed? Okay. Again, you can apply these to lots of cryptos when you see active accumulation. Now, scenario number 3. Okay. Supply. When we see aggregately high, the volume comes up and it's aggregately high compared to its neighbors. It may not be ultra high, but it's still aggregately high at those areas. Or for the most part. Even if it's low, it's still really high at those areas. That would be a scenario of aggregately high. Like overall, it's still high. Okay. And I'm not sure that's how you spell the word aggregately high, but think overall. Still high. What I call aggregately high. In that case, for that symbol, that's the symbol I draw for you guys all the time when we're analyzing this in the micro VSA. if that's the case, we're still looking for a bounce. We may not be looking for it to fail, but we're still looking for a bounce. We have incentive to return there. So those are going to be the scenarios. Scenario number 3. In that case, the supply would not be absorbed. Okay? Everybody understand? So number 3, take a picture. Number 2 and number 1. Not me. Yeah, you guys already had that picture. Number 1. The equal to, the greater than. Okay, so we ready? Alright, this is our last crypto for today. I'm just taking these moments to teach you how to fish. Okay? So you guys are going to be good at this when I'm gone. Greater than. Okay, or increase. That's the symbol. Oh no, not that one. This symbol. Okay. Scenario number 1. Okay, so everybody now has the 3 primary, and if you got this, you basically got the bulk of it. Okay, 1 greater than, 2 equal to, and number 3 aggregately high. 1, 2, 3. Does everybody got this? Can I move on? Yes? No? Questions before we check our work and see how we did? No? Okay, I'm going to assume you guys got it. So you can help each other. Alright, let's see now this, and we can apply this to so many cryptos. 1, 2, 3. Take your screenshot. Those are the 3 scenarios. Increase equal to aggregately high. These indicate the supply has not been absorbed. Alright, make sure you have those 4 images for our notes, and they'll be a blessing to you. Here we go. Let's take a look. We're going to open up our volume. Okay, at the bottom. If you want this to go higher, we'll put this like that. Squish the bottom one, the RSI. We don't need the RSI, we can squish it. Okay. And we're going to be looking for the supply in these areas. Now notice this one is almost very mechanical. This is professional active accumulation most likely or something. Okay, let's look at these scenarios to see what's happening with the supply. So let's group this to some very high volume. Alright, as our first starting area, and then we come back down to these areas and we're very low. There's almost a no demand situation. So this is a very strong decrease in volume from area 1 and 2. Okay. And then from area number 2, when we came back here again, it's very low. Let me see, make sure we're very low again. Yeah, very low all the way to here. So that's going to be extremely low. So in this case, we have a scenario of no demand where there may have been initial buying followed by no demand, or what we know as ND. Okay, no demand. These scenarios would indicate that the bulk of the supply has been absorbed. Okay, we didn't see any of those scenarios. We didn't really see aggregately high at the end. We didn't see increases in volume. We actually see it low. The only way when I do not place much emphasis on no demand area is when there is no buying in the background. But if there is evidence that there may be buying or strong buying or accumulation or a lot of activity that came in our initial areas, then that's where I'm going to put a lot of emphasis. I'm not going to put so much emphasis on the no demand. So that's just as a general rule. If I don't see active accumulation, I really don't care about no demand. I want to see them enter. I want to see the banks, the hedge funds, the big traders. We want to see them enter. And then we want to see the supply absorbed. Does that make sense? All right. So with this, do we have a strong incentive to fall through this support? Yes or no? Do I have a strong incentive to come down here to this area? Or break through the area? No, I don't. I don't. Now, there may be other reasons why we get to those areas, but we can view this more like a support. Okay, I might actually be more paying attention to shortcut prices, therefore, rather than these prices, because most of it's basically saying there's no one interested in trading here. Don't bring it here. They're not really interested in trading. We may be having other supports that we may need to pay attention to, such as this support at 27 cents, but not so much at 17 cents. Okay, we are losing our real big incentive to trade at 27 cents. We're more likely to be trading at 27 cents, if that's the case. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. I'm not looking for us to fail in this case. Okay. And we'll put some notes in here for your memory for this particular scenario. Each trading scenario is going to be a little bit different, but if I had to, I'm going to write these words down. Because the initial area may contain buying or activity of possible entries and accumulation by professional traders, such as banks, hedge funds, institutional investment. I will put more importance on no demand data. Okay. So that's what I told you earlier. So that's what we see here in green. Not investments. Investors. How about that? Okay. So we're going to put some. We do see entry. The next is because we have no demand, and I'll put that. And because we have no demand following entries, we will view this data as lack of interest or lack of supply at 0.17 cent area. This increases the likelihood that the support will hold and increase likelihood that this area has no incentive, that price has no incentive to trade here at all anymore. Therefore, I would look more towards 0.27 cents to act as support. Okay, so if we're logically playing it out, what this means is there's no real reason for us to be trading down there. Okay, that's what this means is there's no real reason for us to be trading all the way down to 27 cents because the bulk of the supply, they're saying, hey, we don't want these prices. Does everybody understand that? In simplistic terms, they don't want to trade here. They don't want to trade here anymore. So there's no real reason for us to come down. And if we do, it's going to probably be very short. And there's definitely probably not a reason to trade underneath unless we saw major weakness. But in a range bound, we'd have to have weaknesses that are strong enough to get us down there. Now, there may be weaknesses to bring us lower to 27, but not really so much 17 cents. If you're lucky, you can get 17 cents as a price, but don't look for us to spend a lot of time trading. Just like these bounces were really quick in the past, they weren't very long, a few weeks, because this is a weekly chart. And then when the health came in, it was up very quickly. Okay, so if that's the case, we're going to be looking for the most near supports, which is 27 cents. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing regarding this crypto, but everybody take your screenshot for kind of my analysis. When you do this enough, you're going to start getting the feel for the removal of the supply at important areas. Okay, the supply has been removed at 17 cents. Okay, lack of interest or lack of supply, 17 cents. Okay, got it? I'm going to move on. We're going to be ending our program today, but you guys are learning things because you're going to need these skills. You're going to need these skills. You're going to be using them in real life. Okay. I'm going to put the price down here, 0.26 cents to 0.24 cents, which is around that 27. I'll just put 27 to 24 so you guys are not so confused. Here's what I'm going to see. I won't show you more of this scenario. But I'll show you why I believe we're going to go down to 27 cents. If I'm looking at the support objectively, and I collect these points here, I think right now weakness is appearing on the weekly chart. If I take the angle, this parabolic angle, and I bring it up to the upper energy center, straight up in the air, not to the left, not to the right, should be right there. We need to move it a little to the left or to the right. One more, and it's lined up. All right, now we're going to click it in place at the core, and it's approximately where it should be. If this is the scenario, then I'm going to say this area is a weakness. And if this is the weakness, we're probably going to come back to the correct trading or appropriate trading range, 27 cents. Okay. Now, when I'm doing this, if I take this angle and I bring it down to the wick side, I also have a verification. So there's still some support here, possibly, and some moves down to here. Current price is 38 cents. So I might be looking for a bounce soon, but when I look at this oscillation, and this is advanced, and I haven't really told you guys this, but if you're measuring the volume in those oscillations at the supports, I'm just going to show it to you real quick. If I'm measuring, it would be a third area here, and I'm not going to have you guys do this, but I'm doing this. If I measured 1, 2, and 3 in these areas, the volume is greatly increasing still. So it's more likely this support has incentive to crack or to come to the lower side. There's too much trading at the lower side of this oscillation. Okay. And this increase here on the up bar, followed by a down move into the bottom, may be signs of selling. Okay, that's a little advanced. I'm not getting into all of that because then we start getting into some other advanced stuff. But for right now, we're probably going to have the incentive to come down a little bit lower and test some of these supports. So I'm going to put a little star here, and we'll leave it there. Do I have any other questions, my thoughts regarding currently where we're at for FTM, on my opinion? Going once, going twice. Okay, going once, going twice. I think this is going to do well. I think there may be some accumulation. We definitely need some health, and we don't have it just yet. There will be a health that will be revealed approximately there. There's your watch line. Set your alert on that chart. Watch line hit or create. Okay. That means that to be more accurate with my circles, it'll look like that. All right. Hope you guys are learned something today. And with that said, we'll end our program. God bless you. I'll be right back for any final questions.